Good morning, everybody. We're going to be working on page 290 or 244 today, and this is going to be the last bit of information that we're going to be receiving, and then we're going to be taking that module test, focusing on a whole lot of different standards. But this is the last of it. When we're multiplying a whole number times a mixed number, and we're going to use what's called a distributive property in order to solve these problems today. So distributive property means that I'm distributing the whole number. I am distributing the whole number and multiplying 3 times 7 and then 3 times 3/4. I am distributing that 3 to both, and that is the distributive property. So let's get into the lesson for today. Let's zoom on in, and let's start getting to work. I'm going to be using the distributive property for E, F, G, and H to solve. So I am going to be working with 3 times 7 and 3/4. We are going to put in parentheses. We're going to work with 3 times 7. And we're going to be adding 3 times 3/4. I have 21. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 9/4. I am then going to want to make this 9/4 into a mixed number by doing a number bond, or you can do skip counting, or you can use division in order to find that mixed number. I'm going to be working with the number bond in order for me to find out, because I know that I can just take 4/4 out, and I have 1/4 left over. So I have 21 plus 2 whole and 1/4. So what's my final answer? My final answer is going to be 23 whole and 1/4. That is our final answer for this problem using distributive property. I multiplied 3 times 7, and I multiplied 3 times 3/4. Let's work with F. We're going to be doing the same thing using distributive property in order to multiply. So let me rewrite this, and we can start working right away. So I'm going to work with 6 times 3 first. So I'm going to put in parentheses 6 times 3, adding, and then multiplying 6 times 1/2. My 6 times 3 is 18 plus, and then 6 times 1/2 is 6/2, and I know that 6/2 is 3 whole. So I have 18 plus 3 whole, and my final answer is 21 whole. Now, if you're not sure how I ended up getting 3 whole from 6/2, 2 goes into 6, 2, 4, 6 times. So it goes 2/2, 4/2, and 6/2, which is 3 whole. All right, let's go into G. I want you to try and do this problem on your own. See if you can solve. And what I want you to work on is using that distributive property in order to solve. So pause this video, work out G, do the math, and then come back and check your answer. All right, now we're going to be working with 4 times 9/2. We're going to be using that distributive property to help us solve. So let's do 4 times 9 plus 4 times 1/2. We now have 4 times 9 is 36 plus 4/2. And this is a simple one for us to solve. I know that 4/2 is 2 whole. So 36 plus 2 equals 38. And let's work with H. And this H is a little bit different. It's 5/6 times 4. But I can easily switch those around in order for me to be able to use the distributive property. If this looks better to you, you can certainly do this. And you can use the distributive property now in order to solve. So 4 times 5 plus 4 times 6 eighths. We have 4 times 5 is 20 plus 24 eighths. If you want to skip count your eighths to get to 24, you certainly can to find out how many wholes you are going to subtract. So I know that I have 8, 16, and 24. All right, so at 8 eighths, 16 eighths, and 24 eighths, that's actually 3 whole. So I have 20 plus 3 whole, and my answer is 23 whole. So remember to use the distributive property for today's math in order to solve for whole numbers being multiplied by mixed numbers, or mixed numbers being multiplied by whole numbers. You're going to be using that distributive property. We're now going to work with this word problem, and I'm going to be setting this word problem up for you. But I would like for you to do the math, the distributive property, in order to solve. So let's go through each problem. So for one dance costume, Sasha needs 4 2/3 feet of ribbon. So we know that Sasha needs at least 4 2/3 ribbon. How much ribbon does she need for 5 identical costumes? So that identical is telling me that we're going to have copies. And whenever we have copies of something, we are using multiplication. So if we have identical costumes, that means a synonym would be to copy, copies, and that can be multiplication. So I'm going to be multiplying this by 5. So 4 2/3 times 5. I'd like for you to use the distributive property in order to solve. Pause this video, and I want you to solve this on your own today, and then show me your work. Have a great, fantastic day, everybody. I hope that you learned something new. We are going to be working with distributive property, and this will be our final standard that we'll be learning until we take the module test. Have a great day, everybody, and good luck.